There are questions about taxpayer spending in Las Vegas, first-class tickets. You're once deemed the worst mayor in America. You used to be a Democrat.
I want to speak to the fact of why I'm running as Republican. My values no longer align with the Democrat values. And they will do anything, when I say anything, anything to win an election.
Tiffany Henyard is back and she is a Republican now. I don't know if you guys noticed. So Republicans, you got your wallets, donate to tiffanyhenyard.com or whatever their website is. So Tiffany Henyard is back in the news doing a really interesting press run as she's running for a Republican seat in Fulton County. I did not plan to do this video today. I actually had other plans, but I saw this clip here and I thought I have to talk about this. This is absolutely insane. She was on a Katie Pavlich show on NewsNation. I tried to find the whole interview. I got 2 minutes I saw on X. I'm not sure if the whole interview is even out yet. Maybe it's probably on later on. If the entire interview comes out, we'll probably break it down again. And if you've seen or heard any Tiffany Henyard interview, you're not going to be surprised. The hits are there, the deflection, just the nonsense, but let's get into it.
Let's take a look at your new political adventure in Georgia. You had many accusations of corruption when you were the mayor in this little town in Illinois. There was accusations of spending millions and millions of dollars in a deficit. There were questions about taxpayer spending in Las Vegas, first-class tickets. You're once deemed the worst mayor in America. You used to be a Democrat. Why should Georgia voters trust you to run as a Republican genuinely, but also that you've changed your ways?
So shout out to Katie Pavlich for having this interview. I know that she seems like she doesn't know all the information. I think she even called it a little town, but she did list the accusations, the stuff that we all know from Dolton, the millions of dollars in deficit issues, the taxpayer spending in Las Vegas, first class tickets going to all over the country, the $10,000 in the charity case, all the stuff that we already know from Tiffany Henyard. And she asked point blank, why should anybody trust you? And have you changed? Those are two questions, very simple. Spoiler alert, she does not.
Well, first I want to speak to the fact of why I'm running as Republican. My values no longer align with the Democrat values. And I'm all about faith. I'm all about God. I'm all about making sure you walk the tightrope as it relates to where you're going. And they will do anything, when I say anything, anything to win an election. And I can't stand by that. I can't stand by the things that I've seen within the party. So I am okay with my change. And like I said, change is difficult. Change is needed, though, in our communities. And I'm okay with aligning with the Republican Party because you guys represent what I represent, which is faith, family, future, growth, economic, policy.
Okay, she was asked, why would Georgia voters trust you? And her answer is faith in God, not here's what I did wrong, not what I've learned, not how I plan to serve Fulton County. It's faith, family, future growth, economic policies. These are bumper stickers. They're just slogans, but that's not a real detailed answer. So is she really a Republican? It's possible. I give her that. People do switch parties. It happens. But let's be honest about what happened here. She didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left her. Now, they did use a caucus, and we talked about this, and we've seen it live. They didn't use this process in over 20 years to keep her off the ballot.
What happened Tuesday night?
Yes, it's election rigging at its finest. When we tried to enter into the building, they told us we cannot come in because they had a party going on at 5 o'clock. Residents from throughout the township showed up in drones. You're supposed to allow anybody that wants to run for office the opportunity to nominate themselves, let alone a slate, let alone anybody in the room can say, hey, I nominate myself for supervisor, I nominate myself for clerk. But they didn't give anybody the opportunity to do that. He only nominated himself and his slate, which was wrong. And I was fighting for my people to get in the building because it was cold outside.
How come nobody stood up to nominate you?
Well, we did. If you watch the tape, I nominated myself.
Is that what you were saying to Napoleon Harris from the
before. We couldn't hear you.
Yes. Somebody got it on tape.
So you can say, was it illegal? No, it was perfectly legal. The problem is you could say it's not fair, but politics isn't fair. Politics is a very aggressive game, especially in Illinois. She's been there, lived there in Illinois for her whole life. So then her own voters in Dolton rejected her. 88 to 12%. That's not a loss. That's an eviction. That's a massive, massive loss. So when she says my values no longer align, they didn't want her anymore. In the 2 days after the loss, she registered to vote in Georgia. That's not really evolution of your politics. That's a political escape route. You want to move on. You did not like how things went down in Dolton, and you want to have a fresh start. It's okay to say that. Now, is it possible she leaned conservative? I remember that picture with her and President Biden. She was extremely excited. I think she likes power. The timing tells you everything. She didn't switch because she found the Republican Party. She switched because the Democrat Party found out about her.
That's so key to me. I care about those things. And yet, the other people tearing us apart. TSA, for instance, why would they gridlock the government? I am really, really big on stop they payment. Don't pay them until they pay the people.
Yeah.
The people got to eat first. It's all about the people first.
Yeah,
But
Congress
yet,
pays
their plan is
themselves while the other
politics.
people are not getting paid. That's for sure. They're happy to never skip a paycheck.
Yes.
The people got to eat first. Tiffany Henyard, the people in Dolton are about to get their property taxes raised because of a $33.5 million police chase verdict that your administration had the chance to settle for a fraction of that amount. Now, if you listen to Tiffany Henyard, she says it was the trustee's fault. Trustee says it's her fault. It's still a mess over there. You're talking about the people got to eat first, but when you're in charge, but the people's money was going to really nice restaurants and first class flights and spending $40,000 on Amazon, fair shopping sprees, and a security detail that cost 6 figures in overtime alone. Dolton is a complete mess, and now you want Georgia voters to believe that you're going to put the people first. Unfortunately, the receipts say otherwise.
Well, you just
Yes.
mentioned they will do anything to win an election. What does that mean? Who is they, and what are you talking about?
They, meaning Democrat Party. And as everybody know, I was once a Democrat, so I know what it's like to be on the other side. And they will do anything to win their seats. And I can't stand for it. Prime example, the caucus in 2024, they stole the entire election in Illinois. Everybody saw it. The news was out there, everybody broadcasted. And no one did anything to change it or fix it. And now people are seeing what's going on. And that's what I mean. Dictator, that's what they are.
Which is hilarious, dictator. Tiffany Henyard calling other people dictator. Listen, Illinois is one of the most corrupt places in the country. This is just par for the course. Tiffany Henyard was the same person that used Dolton police as her personal security detail. Her police chief, Lewis Lacey, racked up $215,000 in overtime between years 2022 and 2024, chauffeuring around town in really expensive black SUVs like she was the head of state. So when the board tried to put him on administrative leave, she showed up at the police station with him the next day, telling the officers who's in charge. When trustees tried to investigate her finances, she vetoed it. They even hired Lori Lightfoot to look into her spending. She vetoed that too. When the state's attorney general ordered her to turn over financial records for her charity, the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation, she ignored it. When WGN tried to get her spending records through a public records request, she stonewalled them until they had to sue. And now she wants to call other people dictators. Now the caucus. Was it messy? Yes. Was it unusual? Yes. They haven't used that process in 20 plus years. Now you see with the news supervisor, Napoleon Harris, he is just as corrupt as she is. He snuck in his high salary in a bill on back of the bill somewhere. I forgot what page it was, but it was based on a Crohn's disease bill. He was able to put in stipulations to keep his salary above the $200,000. But here's the issue with Tiffany Henyard talking about the caucus. It was her conduct that made her a political liability. It was the fights. It was all the nonsense that was plaguing the township in Dolton. So that's not stealing an election. That's a party exercising a legal mechanism to distance themselves from a problem. Was it fair? No, probably not. But it is what it is. And the voters confirmed it because later on when she was on ballot for mayor, she got 12% of the vote. 12%. The people spoke very loudly. Real quick, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It helps us continue this channel. We're getting towards 200,000 subscribers. Appreciate all your support. Let's get back into it. Now in this clip, and I'm not sure we're gonna see the entire thing, but she didn't mention Keith Freeman, her right-hand man at the time, the village administrator. Freeman pled guilty to federal bankruptcy fraud in the late 2025. His plea deal states that his sentencing will be determined after his cooperation in other cases. So he's talking to the feds. She didn't mention Louis Lacey. He also pled guilty to bankruptcy fraud in November 2025. His 9-count indictment reduced to 1 count. His plea agreement states that he is going to provide complete and truthful information and any other criminal, civil, or administrative proceeding. That is cooperation language. Both of them are cooperating. Both of them work directly under her, and both of their sentencing dates have been delayed pending the value of their cooperation. You don't delay sentencing for bankruptcy fraud unless the feds are building something bigger. So think about that. Even though we just talked about the situation with the police chase that ended with a man dying and another man having a traumatic brain injury, the total of that lawsuit now is $40 million. The village entire operating budget doesn't cover that. So now they're in trouble. The judge gave them 3 options: issue a bond, raise taxes, or increase the cost of services. All 3 of those things means the residents of Dolton will pay. Not Tiffany, the residents, the same people that she said she puts first. Dolton is pretty strapped. Unless you're talking about buying the Pope's home. You're completely broke, and they spend $375,000 last year to buy the Pope's home. Now, you could ask them how much money have they received since they bought that home. Think about it. A village that owes $40 million can't fix its roads. If you check any of the meetings, people are still complaining about the fact they having flooding, they still have trash, they still have all types of situations going on, and they bought a home for $375,000 because it might be a tourist attraction. A former village employee literally filed a federal court motion trying to block the purchase, saying this: you can't cry broke in court and then try to spend taxpayer funds on non-essential acquisitions. But that's Dolton that Tiffany Henyard helped to create. And now she wants to get back in politics in Georgia. Now the question is, can they really stop her from running? At this point, unless she doesn't meet the qualifications, no. Georgia law requires candidates for county office to reside in the county for at least 1 year before the election. She registered to vote in Georgia on February 27th, 2025. The primary is May 19th, 2026. That's about 15 months. She says she established residency on May 1st, 2025. Now there is a residency challenge hearing set for 4/20 of this month. But until she gets handcuffs, until she gets indicted, she has every legal right to run wherever she qualifies. That's how it works in America. Now, as of today, the federal investigation is still ongoing. No charges have been filed. It's been years now. Will it happen? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, you got Freeman and Lacey cooperating, suggests that the feds are building something, but that suggests it's not an indictment. And here's the thing. She's not going to win. She is the lone Republican candidate in a district that leans 91% Democratic. I'm wondering why everyone is kind of all up in arms about this. I mean, she's not going to win. People vote the same way no matter what. It's hard for people to actually change their minds. So she will make it to general election because no one else is there to beat her in the primary. So whether Georgia voters do their homework, it's on them now. But the chances of her winning are slim to none. But that's the story. We're going to see if I can find a whole interview. And if we do, we continue. We'll do another reaction to this. But Tiffany Henyard left Dolton in a financial crisis. Was that crisis already there before she started? Yes. But the problem is she made things worse. 2 of her top people are cooperating with federal investigators, and now she's running for office in a new state under a new party like nothing ever happened. She didn't really answer Katie's question. She just dodged and deflect how she usually does. She didn't explain how she changed from Democrat to Republican. She just changed the jersey. So the people in Georgia, if they really care, do your research, and we'll continue to follow this story. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.